versus the world. My next guest is an award-winning actress known for her roles on the big and small screen. Here to tell us more about her new movie, Young Werther, please welcome Alison Pill.
Handshake.
I regret it, but I feel like
nothing.
Yes, you're the person that I'd be okay doing that with. First off, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for you. So this new film,
yes,
Young Werther, it's based off of the 1774 novel entitled The Sorrows of Young Werther.
Yes, by Goethe.
Yes. So what do you
that old
chestnut.
We all know it well.
Premiered this year at TIFF.
Yeah.
What is it about movies that kind of are bringing back classics or kind of reimagining classics? Because I feel like there's a little bit of a trend towards that right now.
Yeah, I think there's always been a pull to realizing the universal in old stories. The best ones stay true no matter how old or new they are.
Yeah.
This one is about kind of young love, somewhat unrequited, and trying to figure out where you fit in the world as a young adult person. Pull between responsibility and just joie de vivre, and so I think all of that still works today.
Yeah.
And I think the pull to it to sort of modernize these stories. Like I just finished a play, we sort of did a modern version of Chekhov.
Yes.
And some of them you're just shocked by how true they feel today, how modern they feel. And there's something, I think, very nice to tap into as a human, to go, oh my gosh, humans have been feeling this way for a very long time indeed.
It's really true, because sometimes I feel like in the world, you're like, oh my gosh, we're really mucking it up. But then you see that we've kind of felt this way for a long time.
We've always mucked it up.
Yeah, that's our thing. Yeah. Now, Alison, when your writer-director was asked to kind of sum up Young Werther in a word, he summed it up as possibility. Do you agree with that, or is there a different word that you think would really sum up the film?
I think possibility is a beautiful one.
Yeah.
I think there's something incredibly romantic about possibility. I know for myself, I find it very hard to live in uncertainty.
Yeah.
When, speaking of humans mucking it up forever, we constantly are seeking out certainty in a very uncertain world.
Yeah.
And instead of looking at it as uncertainty, you can think about it as possibility instead, which is a much nicer framing and a much more romantic framing, I think.
Well, you are a Toronto local. You were born here. We laugh. Now, next year marks the 15th anniversary of Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Yes.
And then this year was the 20th anniversary of Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen. So exciting. Both filmed in Toronto.
That's right, yeah.
What is it like being part of franchises that have such a huge kind of cult classic huge fan base for so long?
It's really funny to me. The Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen is still the thing I'm most recognized for. It is. And it used to be like, I've done other stuff.
Yeah.
It just brings me joy, because I'm like, you recognize me and it's been 20 years.
Yes, you're like fresh, buy a girl a drink first.
Yeah, like, no problem.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's like getting carded.
Yeah.
Like, oh, really? Yeah.
That's amazing.
And in terms of Scott Pilgrim, it's sort of, I mean, we have this ongoing email chain that sort of once every 3 years.
Yeah.
We'll hear from like Michael or Jason Schwartzman, like anybody, of just the most insane email list you can imagine, which is the cast of that movie, which 20 years ago looked a lot different than they do now.
Totally.
But it is just this joy that we have in the longevity of it, how much fun we had with it. The fact that everybody got back together for the Netflix anime version of it, because we all just really love these characters and love interacting with each other.
Yeah.
And it feels very special to have those things that you can age alongside, and where the audience can kind of remember things with you.
Yeah.
It's very sweet and special.
That's so amazing. And you were saying you want people to, like, at that point, you were like, I've done other things. But speaking of other things, you're also known, you're really prolific in the world of theater. And like you mentioned, you just did a Chekhov play with, I believe it was, oh my goodness, Steve Carell?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, and Alfred Molina?
Yeah.
Wow, that was absolutely amazing. I've heard you talk about how theater is kind of your church. It's the place where you kind of reconnect. What does that feel like? Like, why do you feel like that, which is theater in particular?
Well, in terms of acting, I didn't go to college for acting. I never, I took sort of classes with a wonderful teacher here when I was a kid, but I never took any sort of adult acting classes.
Yeah.
It just worked.
Yeah.
And I think I never, there's no better opportunity to learn as an actor than when you're on stage.
Yeah.
And also you get to take ownership of your work in a way that you never do in film and television, because there's so many layers between you and the eventual audience.
Yeah.
Where if it's a play, it's live, the audience saw that show that night. They're
right there.
Right here.
Yeah.
You guys know that you're right here. Yeah. and the interaction is real.
Yeah.
And there's no hiding and faking, which I think is a gift when you can get sort of complacent or easy with things.
Yeah.
That there's no complacency allowed when you're doing 8 shows a week.
No, again, it's full of the moral of the story, possibilities.
Yes.
Which I love. Well, Alison, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you. Huge congratulations again on Young Werther. Thank you so much for being here. We're doing it again. Hey, Mary here. What did you think? Drop your comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more of the good stuff.